Right, I'm just going to put my chair here without hopefully knocking the tripod of the camera, which I probably bloody will. The trouble is with the legs on this computer chair, there's 1, 2, 3, 6 legs on it. You know, the ones that are like the tripod, or tripod or whatever. What have we got on show tonight? We've got a Target HF3 communication receiver from 1995 on the board. It's a Mark IV model, so it's got the old up and down for the mode switch. You'll notice that the dial is off by 2. I deliberately done that, and I'll explain why I've done it now. The dial is 1 high on the upper sideband, and it was 3 high on the lower sideband. And I thought, well, if it's got a discrepancy of 3 and 1, 3 and 1 is 4 kilohertz between lower sideband and upper sideband. So I thought, well, let's just make it 2, because when I realised it's not doing the sideband offset on the display, and to have it 3 low on lower sideband and 1 high on upper sideband seemed a bit stupid. I might as well balance it. And there's a trimmer, CT3 in the back, and what I did is I talked to it with this radio and did that and then lined it up, and as you can hear, it's only operating at the moment on a piece of wire about a metre long, and I'm in a poor position here, so as you can hear, you can only hear this guy from Russia, and there was a guy from I think another guy from somewhere else in Europe. And the bands have been very low the last couple of years, and in the summer it's been completely dead, and it's only in the early evening, around about 7, 8 o'clock onwards, you hear anything. But in 2 hours that's going to be gone, everything's going to be gone, and you won't pick up anything on any of the bands again, and you'll get a tour out and opening tomorrow night, and that's all you're going to get. A little story about the NASA Target. It was also known as the Low SRX 100. It was originally made by AKD, which is who this one is made by. Later AKD sold the project onto a place called NASA Marine. So the ones you get now are called the NASA HF3. And it's normally known as the NASA H3P, the W and the S, whatever that means. And they did do an odd model called the HF4. It had a lot more switches on the back, and it did have better filters. But I don't know, I've not managed to find one for sale. This particular one cost me £80 on eBay. It was 85, and I thought, well, I might be able to get it for a £5 or less. I'll try it. And it's in very nice condition, apart from 2 tiny little scratches on the top. When I opened the case, I was probably the first one to open it. One screw was loose, but the other screw I had the job to get out, and then it made a snap noise. That usually means the screws are put in. When you open all screws in electrical equipment, it makes a crack noise when you do it. And if you hear that crack noise, it means the screws haven't been opened. And that one opens on that side. Something had to go on the other one, couldn't open it. When I opened it, it was full of dust. It got in through the slots on the top. The display was cloudy. Somebody had tried to clean it, waste of bleeding time because the dirt was behind. and actually it's got a very nice sound on the speaker, and I've been listening to this, and I've got this with its internal speaker and this Yaesu with that speaker, and that produces a much better bleeding sound than that radio does, even though it's nowhere near the quality of my Yaesu. I do a lot of shortwave listening, a lot more than talking. The problem is I've got an indoor antenna, and I key that mic, I get a really nasty shock off that metal button on the back of the microphone. I mean, I get a burn on it, and because I got 124 foot aerial up my loft and there's nowhere else to put it. I got a counterpoise in my airing cupboard and a whole lot's alive. You know, even though that button's not connected to anything, it acts as a tuning stub, and I get quite a shock off it. It doesn't seem to affect my audio, because I've done a lot of audio monitoring on my shortwave and the audio sounds fine. It's just as soon as I put my finger on there, I get a burn across my finger. But I'm going to get another one of these mics, and what I'm going to do is remove the button and just put a piece of plastic in the back. So, but to be honest with you, I'm going to be honest, I haven't spoken on amateur radio for about 2 years. I do very little talking. Speech doesn't interest me at all. What I tend to do is I do CW, mainly through my computer, but I can do it with a key. And that's what I like doing. I like doing CW. The other thing I like doing is WITI or PSK. The trouble is that I used to go talking on there. I used to keep, I'm on the autism spectrum, I just keep repeating the same thing. I forgot what I've said, because it's partly to do with my mind, and then I repeat the whole sentence again. And it was getting a bit embarrassing. I get days where I'm okay in it, and other days I'm not. Or I just stood holding the mic and I haven't said nothing. As people are waiting to wonder when I've gone or not. So I gave up doing voice about 2 years ago, partly because the signals have been so rubbish you can't hear anything anyway, and I went over doing CW, and the only speech I do is on my 2 meters, and I haven't done any of that either for about 2 years because the repeater's gone down. And you turn these on, this is the repeater, turn that on. Nothing. Key up. Nothing. Because what's happened, the repeaters have gone. The one up WR, what has happened, something went wrong with it. And it's running on the bare unit plus the cavities. It's just, I'm just not picking it up, even stood in the window here. Even with my long whip, I'm not getting anything. Just the fizzing noises, other people try to get into it. I used to be able to open it from my bedroom window using these, but I can't do it now, and it hasn't worked for about a year. They're in the process of restoring it, but it all went wrong when they bought the fusion unit. They bought the fusion unit, it went wrong and they sent it back. After that, they put an old unit back on. I can't remember what unit it is, out of the arc. It's got very low power on it. It's just not doing the business. They're trying to sort it out, and I expect they'll sort it out when they got time and money to do it. Anyway, as you see.
Yeah, 008, Whiskey Kilo 6 uniform. Yeah, okay, Whiskey Kilo 6 Foxtrot, thanks for 01, yeah, 59557, roger.
And it's only operating on a very short piece of wire.
Give that, thank you, Yankee Tokyo 1 America.
It just goes onto my covers here. It's Russian station.
003?
Now, this particular receiver doesn't have a band switch, it only has one memory channel. And the way you change frequency is by flicking this knob. If you want to go up in single numbers, if you want to go up faster, it will. But if you want to change bands, what you do, I know it's a bit clumsy, you hold that and you flick it once, and what happens is you notice the megahertz is going down by one at a time, and you do that until it goes down to the frequency you want. That's 7. It's gone from 14 to 7 on 4 flicks on the wheel. It's a weird processor in it. You do that to change band, you flip the knob, no wave band switch to go crackly, which to me is absolutely ideal. And I don't think there's anything. Oh, that's on 40 meters. 40 meters ain't really going tonight. So if you take 2 off, that is 780,781. And 40 is pretty dead. So it's 168. If I put this on, and if I turn that to 168, there you are. There you are, 168. Oh, he's gone. He's started to stop talking now. But as you heard, it was coming through on both. And I've equilibriumed it, so that is too low, and when this USB is too high. And I've done that, so I know exactly what to take off. When you get them, it will be 1 out on upper sideband, 3 out on lower sideband, which I thought was rather stupid to have it not balanced. So that's what I've done. So this is a little bit about the target receiver. It works really well. Once you put a longer piece of wire in, it picks up just as good as this one. The filters are quite wide. It's 3.7K. It's okay for sideband. You get about half a dozen more stations in a row, but it's great for listening to Morse, multiple stations, using some of the software I got. You can just click and listen to different stations. It's good for that. In fact, I actually quite like doing it that way. So so that's a little introduction into this radio, and I believe it was designed by someone called Alan J. Mulley, and somebody said they were made in 97. When this one says 95 on the board, it might be 94. I think it was 94, but I'm sure I saw those in books when I went to college, and that was when I was 25. I might have been 26 when I went to college and did electronics. So it might have been, and that was in the mid 80s, so it might have been going that long. I certainly believe I saw them before I came to Shepton in 1991. I'm sure I actually saw them. In fact, I think the one I saw was called the Low TRX 100. Unless it was the Low 150 and I got it mixed up. But anyway, that's a little introduction into this target radio. And it runs on a wall wart that you sort of plug into the wall. And the only thing is there's no memory and no backup battery. If you turn that off, it resets to its resting frequency. I'll just prove the point. 6196, I think at AM it goes to. And that's what it goes to. I don't know why it goes to that. So that's what it rests at. But lucky it's not too far away from 2 meters, 40 meters, and it goes to AM as well. So as I say, it's entirely plastic, and there's about a number of talks done on this radio, and various things on the on YouTube. So I'll leave this one on here, and I hope that you can watch it and get something from it. 73 by an amateur radio language, and hope that you enjoy it.